Hey everybody, today we're going to talk a little bit about electrical power and solar power and batteries in particular. About 2 weeks ago, Elon Musk introduced the Powerwall for the Tesla Energy Group in somewhere in California. I forget exactly where, it doesn't really matter. And I was really excited about it. The Powerwall is a 10 kilowatt hour battery that is attached to your house's electrical system. And if you have solar, you can route into that. And what it does is it collects the energy from your solar panels if you have it. If you don't have solar panels, it takes energy, collects electricity from the cheaper times, which in most places is at night, and allows you to use that energy during the day, or you can save it up and use it for times that the power goes out, like, I don't know, during a typhoon, which we have coming through Osaka as I speak. Shortly after the announcement, Hiko Simon had his Tokyo Tonight show on, and he mentioned that Panasonic and one other company, and I can't remember, and I forgot to go back and look, but Panasonic for sure has a similar system that they've had for years. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't know that. So I went and took a look, or tried to take a look. And for a company that's as large as they are not very interested in telling you about their battery system, other than the fact that they have one. The only information I could find was they have a 1.34 kilowatt hour battery system that can be attached to a house. 1.34 kilowatt hour battery will give you about a half a run on your washing machine, or a couple of hours on your refrigerator. So not particularly useful. And I could not find price anywhere. I looked and looked. And so if you work at Panasonic and are in charge of or are attached to the battery group somewhere, or one of the other companies in Japan that do that, please contact me at chillinkansai@gmail.com and talk to me, because I would like to talk to you about that. Now, the reason I'm excited about the Powerwall idea even is that the battery itself costs $3,500, which is pretty good. So around in Japan, probably it would end up around 40 man or 40 man or $4,000, because stuff. Now, that's just the battery. It doesn't include the inverter, and it doesn't include installation, and it doesn't include a lot of stuff that actually would have to go along with it. But my guess is you probably can get it in the house for around $8,000. Probably. Now, yes, everybody's saying, yes, that's very exciting, but what does it have to do with Japan? Well, Japan has a very, we'll go with screwed up electrical system. Now, the reason I say this is because from Tokyo and north, all the way through Hokkaido, they use a 50 cycle per second system, 50 hertz system. And from about Nagoya to the rest of Japan uses a 60 hertz cycle system. The 50 hertz cycle was because the Germans, not sure, somebody in Europe for sure, I can't remember which group, I thought it was the Germans, but honestly I can't remember right now, and I'm too lazy to go look it up. So Wikipedia, yay. Anyway, they have a different system, and the system right at this point is getting old. And Hiko Simon has said on a number of occasions that if Japan really wants to spend money on things that are very, very useful and necessary but not sexy, infrastructure is one, and the electrical system is definitely one of those. I don't like all of the overhanging wires. The excuse that I always get is, well, during an earthquake, we need to be able to find where the wire breaks. There's ways to do that without having them falling on people. So anyway, the electrical system has a lot of issues, and basically the short version is it's very difficult to add alternative energy sources to the current system because it's old and doesn't hold up as well as it probably could if it was more modern. So anyway, I'm really interested in this, and I thought that it might be something that I might have to try to or might be interested in pursuing. Because the idea of even just storing electricity at night when it's cheaper, and then using it during the day when it's more expensive, so I'm in kind of evening out my house's electricity usage. Seemed really interesting. And then I'm like, you know what? I need to take a look at my bill, my electrical bill, and see what I'm actually looking at. Um, I know my house uses a lot of electricity. All of the appliances and all of the everything in it, except for the computers, were all early 1980s. So not they're starting to get an idea about electrical efficiency, but not so much. So I end up between 250 and 300 kilowatt hours, depending on how much air conditioning I use, and that's kind of a lot. Now, the bill is for 250 is about $60, which is not too bad. So, what does that mean? It means that a single Powerwall unit supplies 10 kilowatt hours of electricity. That means that I'd be able to use the energy stored in it in about a day, which means running my computers, running my refrigerator, running the washing machine, all of the stuff that I usually use electricity for, that would probably drain that battery in about a 24-hour period. So the next question to really ask is, so what does that mean as far as my electrical bill? Does Japan run one rate at night and one rate during the day? Near as I can tell for homes, no. I've looked at a couple of my bills and I did not see any breakdown between uh, times that I was using electricity. Now, it might be that I just can't read it. So if you can read your electrical bill, send me an email and let me know what I'm supposed to be looking at, because basically I didn't see a difference between night and day. I didn't see it blocked out, or I couldn't read it. So if you can circle it or let me know in the comment section below, that would be great. Thanks. So assuming that Japan does not differentiate between night and day, then it would not be worth it for me to even look into having a Powerwall installed. If they do, then there's some serious decisions to make. One, the electrical system in this house is way old, and so basically I'd have to kind of gut the thing anyway, and it'd probably be easier to just build a new house. This is something that I think Japan absolutely could use, and I think it's something in particular because of the way the power grid is set up. It's not practical to sell your solar power back to the energy company. They're not going to pay you that much. But if you could store that solar power and then use it back over the day, and be able to store enough solar power to have it actually supply your home for that period, for a full 12 hours or 24 hours, then it's kind of a game changer. Now, I know when you have the solar panels installed, you get batteries installed with those. I don't know what the rating is on those batteries, but even if it's just a matter of being able to switch all of my electricity rates to the overnight rate, assuming that's a thing, I think it would be worthwhile. Monetarily, it would probably break even, and I'm not sure what the subsidy issues are in Japan as far as putting solar in or adding batteries to your network. If nothing else, it would give me a conditioned power supply, and I wouldn't have to worry about power spikes for my computer. And with all of the stress and tension about coal versus nuclear power, there's a lot of ways that I think this could be good, particularly when you end up with things like earthquakes and typhoons that really damage the infrastructure. Having homes being able to supply themselves with electricity is a really good benefit, and I think that it's something that should be considered regardless. So basically in Japan, the electrical network needs replaced and put underground, and it needs to be modified, and it needs to put the country under a single system rather than two systems, and that's about it. I think that the Powerwall thing is very exciting, it's very interesting, and it's actually a reasonable amount of money. Particularly if you're building a new house, I don't think it would add that much to it. I'm going to look into it. I probably won't be able to do it for a couple of years, but it's something interesting. Technology in Japan. I hope if we can get Tesla to come here. Tesla Motors is struggling to get a foothold in Japan just a little bit. But anyway, as I was saying, talk to you later. Bye.